A deadly drug that is keeping law enforcement across the nation on their toes.
Fentanyl's already here. We were privy to a briefing, high-level briefing from federal authorities about fentanyl, and it was very alarming.
Senators in the 37th Guam legislature in session Friday. First up is Speaker Therese Terlahi's Bill 10, known as the Guam Opioid Overdose Protection Act of 2023. It would authorize law enforcement, first responders, community-based organizations, and school personnel to administer naloxone, the medication to fight off a drug overdose.
We on Guam are trying to save the lives before we have the epidemic that is plaguing every state in the nation, including Hawaii.
The measure received overwhelming support from local health and public safety officials. Guam Behavioral Health has since had a grant program in place to get the medication here and conduct the training on its use.
Having this readily available, yes, it's a good thing, but the fact that we're here having to do this is a bad thing, because it shows how far and how much these drugs have permeated into our community. And it's scary.
It's definitely needed, thus potentially preventing unnecessary deaths around our community. And that's the key word. Our community is most vulnerable here, from our nannies to our nanas.
I've lost friends in my life directly to fentanyl. I first saw the problem of fentanyl when I was living stateside, and it was devastating then, and it crushed me when I saw that fentanyl was starting to take a foothold here on Guam when it took some of my friends.
The drug talk also leading some to discuss the controversial text that circulated after two middle schoolers got sick.
Not even true. Quote, Untalan has 2 students who was given gummies that has fentanyl. This message was all over the place. And it caused me great distress, because while I'm standing here saying that we're a little bit ahead of the curve, it was my great fear that we didn't act quickly enough to pass this bill into law and to get Narcan and naloxone out to where it needs to be.
The Guam Department of Education confirmed after an investigation the students had actually used dab pens, causing their illness. Still, senators used it as a point to why they each support the bill.
Whether that event was accurate or not, this is a wake-up call. You know, we cannot not do anything as policymakers. We have to make sure that our first responders are there in case of an incident.
If we are going to protect children from fentanyl and alcohol, shouldn't we also protect them from fentanyl, alcohol, and nicotine? All of these, in combination or alone, are deadly, and we need to stop the kids from getting on the path of nicotine addiction, alcohol addiction, opioid addiction.
Senator Frank Blas Jr. also recalling his time on the force when he led the War on Ice effort to combat the meth problem on the island in the 90s, to drive home why this measure is important.
I saw those horrors. I lived those horrors. And you know the biggest difference between those horrors then and the horrors now? Is the horror that we're dealing with now, targeting our children.
Bill 10 was moved to the third reading file before senators take it up for a vote.